Welcome to tonight's show, The Lost Herd, a documentary. Our story begins when last year I was antiquing and found an old painting in a shop, which I purchased for $2.50, believe it or not. And on the back, I discovered a map of the area from 1698. That's before there were towns or even a state here. These were the very first settlers in this area. And it outlines the mountains and deep swamps near the Robert Vine Homestead. Now, apparently Robert Vine and his wife and children moved up into the mountains, and what I discovered was in the same antique shop was his diary. And it's the diary of Bo Sr. And it states that he had a herd of 20 cows, which was pretty large considering he was in the middle of nowhere. It must have taken quite a bit of work to get it in there and get his cabin built and farm built, whatever. But apparently it says that the herd entered a thick swamp and were never seen again. He later, in this same diary, said he saw multiple times during a moonless night glowing eyes and heard loud howls of a kind that shook his bones. He also caught a glimpse in the firelight of a large hairy creature that stood 8 to 9 feet tall, and he named him the Swamp Beast, what many would recognize as Sasquatch or Bigfoot. I have discovered that the locals misidentified the location and have been searching for the lost herd and the Swamp Beast of New Hampshire in the wrong location. Now, this expedition is to head into the correct area, cross the swamp, and hopefully find signs of a herd still intact or of the Swamp Beast and return with proof or video evidence of such. Now, I know that some people are saying that this is just a giant hoax that I'm perpetrating for fame and fortune. Well, let me tell you, there's no fame or fortune involved in this. I am only in this for the adventure. Any fortune made from this will be donated to a charity of my choice after expenses have been paid, of course, and a not too generous salary for those involved in the expedition. Our story begins as we enter the swamp area. Cow, move. Endless stretches of mud and water were really testing the expeditionary force. As we roll through this vernal pool, we're looking for signs of life, like the herd maybe grazing in the area, coming down for a drink, or maybe the Swamp Beast. Move! tested the expeditionary force to its limits. At this time, I decided to make camp and spend the night. Well rested and a fresh set of eyes, we head back into the swamp to look for signs. Cow, moo, 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 cow, moo, moo, ma. It's times like these, looking into the swamp and these vernal pools, into the depths, you can really test a person's willpower. So far from civilization, these vernal pools can test more than my patience. This is where the expeditionary force encountered its toughest test. It was too late at this point, but we hadn't quite discovered that we had accidentally went the wrong way and had gotten turned around. Heading down a new trail, we are quickly blocked. The crew decides to move the obstacle. As obstacles in this new trail that we are blazing keep coming up, the expeditionary force is becoming disheartened. With no sign of the lost herd or the swamp beast, our hopes are beginning to fade. This last obstacle was just too much to take. We'd already expended plenty of resources cutting and removing trees and debris from the trail. We had to turn back and venture back into the swamp and find another way. the expeditionary force has been reinvigorated with the hopes of finding the lost herd or the swamp beast. As we moved uphill, the terrain got ever rough, and we faced our greatest challenge yet. It was at this point I had noticed that we had partially run over signs of the lost herd. There definitely appeared to be something going on. Lo and behold, there were tracks of the swamp beast there too. I can hardly wait to show you my findings when I publish it in a scientific journal. After carefully documenting our discoveries, we decide to press on. Moo! Moo! Oh! Moo! What's hard to see here is that the trail constricted upon itself, and it was so tight our vehicles could barely make it through. Moo! Moo! Oh! Moo! 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 With no place to turn around, no hope of getting back down that cliff, there was no turning back. We had to press forward, and we were either going to make it out or die trying. Moo! Moo! Oh! Moo! 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 Though it seems like the wilds of New Hampshire were trying to stymie us at every chance, a little hard work and we were able to keep moving. Moo! Moo! Oh! Moo! 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 The track became treacherous as the expeditionary force moved down it. The clay was so slippery and held the potential for our vehicles becoming mired in the muck, and us with limited resources, we might not be able to get them out. It's very, very touch and go at this point. Moo! 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 The fear of tipping over nearly turned us back at this point, but knowing that it was certainly to our peril if we did, and with no resources for more than this day, we would surely starve to death if we did head back, so we decided to venture on. Against the wall, and one last swamp between us and civilization. decide to press on with gusto. Thank you for watching. I'll be sure to keep you up to date and posted as to my results.